traders, a very warm welcome to you. So the age-old question that we have is, are good traders born or made? Now, I'm going to give you my opinion on it from my experience, my thoughts, from my own career and from others that I know in the business or have been in the business, failed, succeeded, all that kind of stuff. But really interested to hear what you think about this one because it's quite a broad kind of subjective topic. Okay, let's get down to it. I'll split it up into born and made, and I'm going to kind of adjust it. I'm going to kind of look at each and make an argument for each of the columns. Okay, first of all, now let's just clarify born. What do I mean by born? I mean it's something that somebody's character when they start trading. Don't mean necessarily that's when they are born as a baby and that's the kind of character they have. I think that born is, you know, the attributes that you have when you first start trading. Is that something that maybe that's been developed or ingrained in you as a child as you've been growing up? So things like that, rather than made, which is something you can work on as a trader and come in as anybody and adjust as you start trading and refine and develop. Okay, so the first thing I think that is a characteristic that you're born with is your tolerance to risk. Now, within reason, because I know that there are some guys out there, traders out there, or people out there, should I say, who would never want to take any risk on at all. It doesn't matter how clear the system was or how little they had to do. The fact that they're risking their own money just scares them to death. Whether that's something from a childhood thing, where they're brought up where money was very, very tight in the family and they struggled, and you know, families were working very, very hard, and it would be awful if they lost money that they'd worked for. So perhaps it's something from that. Perhaps it's something different where they've had a bad experience, and whatever it may be, doesn't really matter. But I think that risk tolerance is something that on one end of the scale to the other, the really extreme ends, is that, you know, you can't adjust it too much. I think you've got some flexibility. You know, most people have a little bit of a tolerance for risk, and they can start to take a little bit more or a little bit less. I think people like yourself and me, we look at risk a lot more aggressively, and we're prepared to take a lot more risk. We're prepared to lose a lot more, to gain a lot more. So we dial up our size, we're a bit more active, those kind of things. As opposed to the gambler, of course, who is a completely separate guy who, yes, he loves risk, but he loves the feel of the game as opposed to us. Hopefully you're not gambling, is we're looking for the actual outcome, taking the risk at the outcome, like someone building a business, investing in something, that kind of stuff. So I think risk tolerance is generally characteristic of the person, but can be tweaked slightly. So if you're very, very risk seeking, you might have to dial it back a little bit for trading, or if you're a little bit kind of shy of risk, you can do a strategy which is a little bit less risky, a little bit less leveraged up, all that kind of stuff. So been aware of that. Right, next one I think is intuition. Now, this used to be something, obviously, if you're trading back in the day when you're in the pit, and it was kind of based on the feel of what your body language was of the people coming into the pit, what the other locals' body language was, what the brokers, the big brokers, how they were, you know, looking around with their eyes, were they nervous before the open. You hear stories about, if you read books about the trading pit, you see it all the time, where, you know, they said, oh, I could see, you know, one of the big broker houses was shuffling and nervous before the market opened, and we gapped down a bit. He said, so, you know, so they would just sell it straight away, knowing, assuming, intuition, that someone's going to come in and sell it really, really hard. So, but now that's a little bit less. You know, I still personally believe that intuition plays a big part in trading. Because even though you can have all sorts of rules, all sorts of systems, which is great, and that's really why it comes more into made, but there's still a little part in there where, you know, you take in all the information, but something, you know, I like to give all my systems and strategies, I like to give myself a little bit of flexibility, allow myself a little bit of trader's gut to, you know, give that the final say. Obviously, not for everybody, and it plays less and less of a part now, but I still think it's aware. And there are some guys who just seem to have very good intuition about where the market's going. They feel it, they get in the zone, and it just seems uncanny. And I don't think that's from a pure systemized approach. But anyway, let's move on to made. So these are the justifications for saying that the traders are made. Nowadays, it's a lot of rule based. You know, I'm not talking about a mechanical system here. We're talking about saying, hey, listen, you'll go long if this filter, that filter goes in place, then you will have some discretion into it, or you'll do this, do that with your money management, your trade management, all that kind of stuff, your risk. That comes under a set of rules, a system, a strategy. So in reality, I can give you my strategy. I can take a strategy from someone else, and if there's an edge there and there's a winning strategy there, should be able to execute it correctly. Now, this is where it becomes interesting, because not everybody seems to be able to stick to a strategy. The discipline thing is a big thing. Some people are kind of not very disciplined when it comes to trading. They're always breaking rules, and unfortunately that's probably going to doom them to failure unless they get a grip on it very, very quickly. So being able to stick to rules and being able to that, and that's something I think you can adjust and improve on. So number 2 here I've got is pressure. Now, depending on how long you've been trading yourself, I know that my ability to withstand pressure in terms of swings of equity, in terms of bad runs, has improved dramatically since I started trading in 2001. You know, before then, my first kind of 5 years, I would freak out at a loss or a string of losers. You know, I'd be elated at a win. But, you know, as you get more experienced, it dampens off. You know, your emotions dampen off. You don't swing from, you know, joy to fear or to frustration so easily. You kind of still feel the market, of course you do, but your ability to handle pressure, if something's going against you quickly, or, you know, having a string of losers or whatever it may be, that is definitely something that is made. Obviously, you might come from a better starting point if you're born, but I think that that definitely improves as a trader. And emotional control, very, very similar kind of thing. You know, how your ability to deal with emotions of loss, frustration, anger that you get potentially from trading, from not sticking to your rules, from getting stopped out, from all these swings of emotion. This is the kind of thing that definitely is made because you learn techniques and strategies to deal with that, improve it. Not get caught up in the emotional swings. So, you know, Richard Dennis did this with the turtle experiment way back, I don't know what year it was, but he wanted to prove that trades were made. So he gave them a system, and he said, listen, when this system triggers, then you execute this. And do you know, now I think we've moved on, and I do tend to err on the side that traders are made. You know, most people, I believe, can trade successfully if they stick to it and they recognize their weaknesses and work on their weaknesses and overcome their weaknesses. I think that most traders most people, should I say, can become good traders. And when the term good, I mean someone who's making money, you know, most years. I'd say that's good. Not everyone's going to be Paul Tudor Jones and making billions. That's just life. That's the way it is, a normal distribution. But, you know, there are some people who are just not going to be suited for trading at all. Risk tolerance is low. Those kind of things, maybe they just don't even like looking at the screens, don't like doing that analysis kind of stuff. That's fine. If you don't like it, you don't enjoy it, you're probably unlikely it's going to be a good trader. So I'm going to stick with made, but I'm going to say there are some characteristics, a certain subsection of society that probably won't be able to be good traders, and they probably wouldn't want to be, so it doesn't make any it doesn't concern them. So what do you think about that, guys? What do you think about born or made? Do you think that anyone can trade, or do you think that some people have got a certain knack? I'll be interested to hear your comments, because as I say, subjective. These are just my thoughts on it. I'd be interested to hear what you guys have got to say about this. Are good traders born or made? See you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.